What's up? Welcome to Nowstalgia. Dave here in my 2024 Oscar nominations reaction. Gonna go through all the Oscar nominees. Gonna go through the snubs, the surprises, and yes, we had some surprises. A lot to get into here. Of course, if you missed it, I did my predictions for the Oscar nominations last week. I did pretty good, but there was definitely some stuff I did not foresee. And of course, I'll be doing my predictions for who I think will win in a little bit. Obviously, the Oscars are not until March 10th, so the predictions will be a little bit later than now. Nonetheless, a lot to get into with these nominations. Starting off the bat, I think let's start with Best Picture because Best Picture actually was probably the chalkiest, most straightforward category of all. It directly matches the Producers Guild Award nominations as well. And I think this happened just because there was really no other films rising up to take a spot here. So your 10 Best Picture nominees are American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. What movie could have really got in there at this point, the way award season, the way things have been going? I mean, May, December, All of Us Strangers, The Color Purple, those are the only movies that really come to mind. And, it never really happened for All of Us Strangers at all. The Color Purple also clearly was a soft awards film, and same thing for May, December. So it kind of by default became this group of 10. And I really have no beef with this. I mean, my you know, four of my top five movies of the year are in this list. Like, I feel great about this. So, Best Picture, really no qualms about it. Obviously, we know it's Oppenheimer's race to lose right now, but Oppenheimer also leading the field here, the most nominated film of the day, unsurprising, with 13, followed by Poor Things with 11, Killers with 10, Barbie with 8, Maestro with 7, American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, and Zone of Interest with 5. Shout out Ridley Scott's Napoleon, 3 Oscar noms. And then the last movies with multiple noms, with 2 noms each. You have The Creator, Mission Impossible 7, Nyad, Past Lives, and Society of the Snow. A nice grouping there. So let's get into some of the surprises here. So from Best Picture, let's move to Best Director. Okay, so Best Director, we felt very confident that Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, and Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon would all be nominated. And they were. Here's where the surprises begin. Also nominated for Best Director, we have Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. We've often talked about the international nature, composition of the Film Academy and how that has changed and is newer more recently than it was in the past. And we're often seeing this bubble up in the Best Director category, where people like Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round and Powell Palakowski for Cold War and Ryusuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car get nominated for Best Director as international directors. And I was curious how this would go this year because Yorgos Lanthimos, of course, famously a Greek man. I was wondering if that would coalesce and he would be our representative of world cinema. And you'll notice Greta Gerwig is the big shock here, not nominated for Barbie because both Glazer and Triet got in. I predicted that. I thought Triet would get in as that number 5. Alexander Payne alongside Gerwig was nominated for The Holdovers and Best Director at the DGA, the Directors Guild Award. And I was feeling Payne would drop out and Glazer took that spot with The Zone of Interest. But I was not expecting Justine Triet to also jump in and take away from Greta, or at least have that happen in tandem like that. So that is definitely a big surprise and a bit of a hit there for Greta. Nonetheless, it's not all bad news for Greta Gerwig, who becomes the first director, male or female, to have their first 3 solo directorial films all nominated for Best Picture. That's Lady Bird, Little Women, and now Barbie. Huge accomplishment. Also this year, with Best Picture, on the female front, it's the first time ever we've had 3 films nominated for Best Picture that are helmed by women. Of course, that's Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, and Past Lives. So, tough individual accolade there for Greta, but overall, I think things look pretty good there. Yeah, and again, just a big shock. I have really no beef with any of those selections. Again, I was picking Justine Triet. I'm just kind of shocked that Greta didn't get in, given how much respect and esteem she has as one of our newest, directorial auteurs. Nonetheless, it happened. Looking at Best Actor here, again, we knew that a few of these were definitely going to happen. Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. Felt really good about those. Also felt very good about Bradley Cooper and Maestro. Those 4 did, in fact, get nominated for Best Actor. The last spot went to Coleman Domingo for Rustin for his portrayal as Bayard Rustin in the Netflix biopic film. And there was definitely some, buzz that could happen, as Leonardo DiCaprio notably got snubbed, quote unquote, by the SAG Award nominations. And of course, it never really happened for Andrew Scott or All of Us Strangers. So, in fact, that is what happened, where Leo did not get nominated and Coleman Domingo did instead. And, it's a good field. I just wish Rustin was like a better movie. It's a pretty staid, bland, doesn't look too great film, but Domingo's really good, and I think it's a kind of a sick nom, honestly, just because he's someone who's been good for a while. He's also very good in The Color Purple this year. He's really good on Euphoria, people might remember. Like, he's been great forever, and it's a really nice recognition for him. So I don't have too much of a problem with it, given Leo's been nominated many times. He's already won. And the Killers campaign clearly was not really running Leo as who they wanted to win. Of course, they were more coalescing behind Lily Gladstone, who got nominated for Best Actress, unsurprisingly, alongside Carey Mulligan in Maestro, Emma Stone in Poor Things, and Sandra Huller in Anatomy of a Fall. So those four, everyone felt pretty good about. We also felt pretty good about Margot Robbie in Barbie being nominated for Best Actress, but she was not nominated. I'm pretty surprised about this. And in her place, you have Annette Bening for Nyad as Diana Nyad, another Netflix biopic film performance. Netflix really pulling through here. And this is a bit of a shock, I have to say. Margot still gets a nomination as one of the producers of Barbie in the Best Picture category. She's someone who's been nominated before, of course, but it's a tough beat, tough, comedies often struggle at the Oscars, unfortunately. And that's tough just because, again, Annette Bening is Nyad, it's not what I wanted to see, quote unquote. And, I was really pulling for Greta Lee in Past Lives. I didn't think it was going to happen. It didn't, unfortunately. But I think Margot Robbie not being nominated in Best Actress really stands out when you can contrast this with what happened with Best Supporting Actress, where America Ferrera did get nominated for her role in Barbie. To pick America Ferrera but not Margot, that's very perplexing to me, to be honest. Not what I would have done. So Best Supporting Actress, you have Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers, Jodie Foster for Nyad, Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, and Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple. Felt pretty good about those four. America Ferrera as Barbie is kind of the big surprise, where she was in the mix, but I had predicted perhaps Penelope Cruz could get in for Ferrari after her SAG nom. And obviously Julianne Moore was still in the mix for May December as well. Nonetheless, Ferrera does get in, but it's the Ferrera over Robbie choice, even though that's not exactly what the choice is, but that's what it feels like. That's what really stands out to me about this. So again, a bit of a shock here. And then looking at Best Supporting Actor, again, you had people that you knew would be there, right? Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Ryan Gosling for Barbie. Felt good about those. Mark Ruffalo does get in for Poor Things. I wasn't too confident about that one. And then Sterling K. Brown got in for American Fiction, which I had predicted, I was happy about, but, was not a lock. And as a result, this means that Willem Dafoe did not get in for Poor Things. Ruffalo got it instead. I think that was the right choice. It's a better, more newer, unique performance from Ruffalo, whereas this was Dafoe doing things you've seen him do before, albeit very good. I love Dafoe in Poor Things, but Ruffalo's a better nom, I think. And I'm happy about that. I didn't actually see that one coming, so that's good. And then Sterling K. Brown getting in for American Fiction is amazing. Unfortunately, what this means is Charles Melton did not get in for May December. Again, May December did not have the Oscar nom day people would have thought, right? No Alexander Payne, no Best Picture nomination, no Julianne Moore, but no Charles Melton is a big hit because, you remember a few months ago, people were saying, is Charles Melton the dark horse in this? Could he knock off RDJ? No, he doesn't even get nominated. Big hit. Also, big hit for the Hollywood minting new movie stars thing, because Melton, obviously, seeing him on the awards circuit on the red carpet, that guy has the look and has the talent, and that is a tough beat for him, unfortunately. So that's acting. We'll just kind of go through some other categories here, go through all of them. Animated feature, The Boy and the Heron from Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli, unsurprisingly there, alongside Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Felt very safe about those. Elemental from Pixar does get through. Nimona from Netflix does get through. The surprise, I guess you could say, quote unquote, is Robot Dreams getting in. This is a film, I haven't seen this film yet, but this is a Spanish-French animated film, and it's kind of reminiscent of when I Lost My Body got nominated, I think 3 or 4 years ago. More like auteurist, non-mainstream animated fare getting in. Think of Flea as well, that Neon release. They're releasing Robot Dreams, and like what else could have taken that spot? Mario, not critically liked despite the big box office. Wish, same thing on Disney front. Then I guess Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the only other one that I think people were predicting. I didn't have a good feel for that. I think I went with TMNT in my predictions, but cool. I'm definitely going to seek out Robot Dreams. Best International Feature Film, also a bit of a surprise here. Unsurprisingly, is 2 nominations. The Zone of Interest from Jonathan Glazer in the United Kingdom. Obviously, it's going to be here. It was nominated for Best Picture. No shock, it's going to win. And then Society of the Snow from Spain and director Jay Bayona out on Netflix. Netflix getting that one through, unsurprisingly. And also Society of the Snow getting a second nomination for makeup and hairstyling, which I think is quite justly earned. The surprise here, though, is the other nominations. You have The Teacher's Lounge from Germany, Perfect Days from Japan, and Io Capitano from Italy. What that means is Fallen Leaves from Finland and Kurosmaki did not get through. That's a bit of a shock. And also The Taste of Things from France did not get through. What a bad beat for France. They picked The Taste of Things over Anatomy of a Fall, and Taste of Things doesn't even get nominated, whereas Anatomy of the Fall is nominated in 5 categories, including Best Picture. Would have ran away with this dub if it had been there, but no, now France gets no glory in this category. Tough beat there. Io Capitano gets through after getting Globe nominated for film not in an English language. Perfect Days from Vin Vendors in Japan, which I did pick, is there. But yeah, I think no Fallen Leaves and no The Taste of Things. That's a surprise in international feature. Let's see. Best Original Screenplay, we have Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, Past Lives. That's actually like very chalk. There really was nothing else I think that could have been picked there once the Barbie designation happened, where Barbie was determined to be an adapted screenplay, not original. Like, your other choices for original screenplay this year are like films like Asteroid City or Saltburn or Air, which those movies just never really had much of an awards push or awards momentum. So no surprise with original screenplay. And then adapted screenplay, you have American Fiction, shout out Cord Jefferson getting nominated there, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Zone of Interest. I mean, what you could have picked here is one key omission. Killers of the Flower Moon, not nominated for adapted screenplay. That is a bit of a shock. Nonetheless, Killers got a lot of nominations. That's tough though, man. Big category. I don't know what you take away. I guess you take away Zone of Interest because that's more of a directorial, visual, sonic effort than much of a screenplay. That's probably what I would have done there. But nonetheless, that's a shock, I guess you could say. Documentary feature film. I just want to note that 20 Days in Mariupol is nominated there, the documentary about the Ukraine war. I had picked 20 Days in Mariupol to get into international feature film as well as doc. It didn't, but I guess, spreading the wealth a little bit. It's in the doc category. Makes some sense there. Also in that category, To Kill a Tiger, The Eternal Memory, Four Daughters, and Bobby Wine. I'm going to ignore the shorts. Just not a shorts guy. Cinematography, we have Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. All pretty chalk. But then El Conde. Ed Lachman's cinematography for El Conde on Netflix, the Pablo Larraín movie. That's a shock. That's a pretty cool nomination. Editing, we have Anatomy of Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. And that's probably your top 5 best picture ranking right there. That's how we usually think about editing, right? Costume design, we have Barbie, Killers, Napoleon, nice nom, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. Production design, Barbie, Killers, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. Same exact thing with costume. Makeup and hairstyling, you have Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow. I'm pretty hyped about Best Sound, The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible 7, Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. Loaded category, all very deserving. And then visual effects, you have The Creator, Godzilla Minus One, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Mission Impossible 7, and Napoleon. Really like that The Creator got 2 noms here, then Godzilla Minus One got into visual effects. I think either one of those is an excellent choice for visual effects, and they're both shining examples of what can be achieved in filmmaking with smaller budgets, not $200+ million Hollywood budgets. That's really, I think, great recognition. I hope that's a sign of things to come. Original score, you have American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, John Williams extending his record with his 54th nomination at the Oscars. Killers of the Flower Moon, where Robbie Robertson, posthumous nomination. Oppenheimer, Ludwig Göransson, and Poor Things. So pretty good category there. And Best Original Song, you have, gosh, The Fire Inside from Flaming Hot, another Diane Warren original song nomination. This keeps happening. It's probably one of the most ridiculous like Oscar traits is Diane Warren getting nominated for Best Original Song in songs people don't know, often in movies people haven't seen. Flaming Hot's a little bit more popular in some of her past films she's been nominated for, but it's kind of ridiculous. I'm Just Ken from Barbie, that's there. That's probably the winner. It Never Went Away from American Symphony, John Batiste's song. Uh, Wakshawazi, Song for My People from Killers of the Flower Moon, and then What Was I Made For from Barbie, Billie Eilish, and Phineas song. What that means is Peaches from Mario did not get in. Honestly, I thought that would have been a nice pick because Peaches, like I'm Just Ken, are actually songs that are in the movie and actually matter to the film and how the film works versus just a song that you play in the beginning or a song you play at the end credits. It's a pretty dumb category usually, but when you have a song like I'm Just Ken, I think you have to pick it to win because it actually matters to the film. And yeah, I think that's all the categories, right? Did I miss anything? I did not. No, that is all. So yeah, big takeaways. Gerwig out in Best Director. Big shock. Justin Triet and Jonathan Glazer in. Best Actress, you have Margot Robbie out, but somehow American Ferrera is still in for Best Supporting Actress. A bit of a tough thing to grab your head around there. Best Picture went chalk. There was just really no other like upstart pick to really break through here. Coleman Domingo does get in for actor. Yeah, I think that's kind of the big stuff here. You know, Annette Bening being the one to knock out Robbie, tough. Some cool surprises like El Conde getting nominated, Society of the Snow getting a second nom. Happy about Sterling K. Brown getting through. Charles Melton, bad beat from that guy. Yeah. So I'll be doing my best picture, my full Oscar predictions for all the categories in early March before the Oscars happen. And make sure you let me know what you think of these nominations. What are your biggest snubs and surprises? Who are you rooting for? Of course, make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/Nowstalgia because I will be back with those predictions. And yeah, for more movie reviews as well, subscribe. I'll see you next time.